Great, here we are. There's no ways. All right. Share it to my page real quick. All right, well, welcome back to another WCN Live here in the Wilson County News Break Room. My name is Kristen Weaver, Director of Operations, and today I am joined by...
Hi, I'm Alice Poore. I am the Executive Director of the Polish Heritage Center in Panna Maria.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to thank our sponsor before we get going here. We are sponsored by Professionals in Dentistry. I actually wrote the wrong thing on my notes here. Oops. Professionals in Dentistry. They are the dentists in China Grove, San Antonio, or Adkins area. And you can look for them. It's Dr. Little. They're tagged in the description of this video. But check them out. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And that's Professionals in Dentistry. Right. Great. So before we get started on our conversation, I'm going to need you to draw me a winner. Let me explain. So while we're live on these videos, we ask that when you join us to put a thumbs up or say hi or even ask a question during our conversation. We look forward to seeing those. But if you do that, then that gets your name into our drawing for the next week. Okay. So I have a list of names here. If you can please draw me a winner.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So our winner of WCN Live from last week's video is Priscilla Hernandez. So congratulations, Priscilla. I'll be reaching out to you on Facebook Messenger so you'll know how to pick up your C Street Gift Shop gift bag. All right. Nice. So be sure to share this video today. You're in store for a treat as we speak with Alice here, and she shares about the Polish Heritage Center. First, let's give a little introduction. Tell us again who you are, where you're from, kind of what brings you here.
Okay. Well, I'm Alice Poore, and I am originally from San Antonio. I was born and raised on the South Side, graduated from Highlands High School, went on to Trinity University, and became an educator. I'm married to Bobby Poore, and in fact, this September we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. We have two beautiful daughters, Amy Whitty and Kristen Tatch. Great son-in-laws, Scott Whitty and Chris Tatch. And then Amy and Scott have blessed us with Kendall and Case. And then Kristen and Chris have Jaden and Liam. Nice. And then Jaden has two daughters, which makes us great-grandparents, Hazel and Hadley. So we have a blessed family.
Very much, yes. Are they nearby?
We all live in Fall City.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we share property together, so I see them all the time, which is
beautiful.
A blessing. Yes.
Having family together. There's nothing like that. Just nothing. Wow. So you haven't been at the Heritage Center too long. Tell us a little about that. How long have you been in this role, executive director? And maybe there's a story behind how you got into that role. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to back up a little bit.
All right.
So in 1978, my husband was a DPS trooper, and we were transferred to Karnes City. And I'll be honest, I wasn't happy because it was very, very rural back then, and I was a city girl. So I said I'd stay 1 year. So we stayed there 36 years, and I taught in school, and then I became an academic liaison for an after-school grant, and that's the role I was in when I was asked to consider the Polish Heritage Center's job as executive director. We moved to Falls City 15 years ago and found another beautiful community that, you know, everyone shares your ups and your downs, and it's a great place to be and to raise your children.
Wonderful.
So, well, 19 months ago, I was approached about considering the executive director's position. And, you know, I had worn a lot of hats as an educator, but I thought, you know, can I do this?
Right.
And so I thought about it a little bit, and I thought, you know, I'm going to see. So I applied, and I actually went through 3 interviews. And the board of directors at the center was looking for a specific type of person, and they had interviewed nationwide and had several really good candidates. But I think the key was being local. And so being local, having a ton of connections after 40 plus years, knowing if I didn't have the answer, I knew who to call to get the answer. I think that was the key.
Yeah.
And because in the last interview I asked, are you taking advantage of this center and having students come here for chores? And they said, well, we don't know how to get that started. I said, I do. And so I got the job.
Yeah.
And I started in August of 23. And by November, we had our educational outreach program started. And I started with 2 districts.
That's great.
So, yeah,
That
it's
is
been
amazing.
very successful.
What a great opportunity for local students in our area, and I'm sure, well, you can tell a little more about that too if it spells further. But
Yeah.
well, then let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Now tell us about the Polish Heritage Center in Panna Maria and sharing some of that history.
Okay. So Panna Maria is the oldest permanent Polish settlement in the United States. That's the reason for the center being there. So Bishop John W. Yonta was the visionary of the center. And I love this story because it really just all fell into place. He was born and raised in Runge. He was one of 8 children, 7 brothers and 1 sister. I always pray for that sister because it couldn't have been easy, you know, but she did an amazing job, and he knew from little on that he wanted to become a priest. So he only went to Runge School for a short time. He actually went on to Catholic school in San Antonio, graduated from Central Catholic, went into the seminary, and his first parish happened to be a Hispanic parish in San Antonio. And there is a link to the Hispanic culture, and if we have time, I'll share that. If not, you come to the center and find out. But anyway, he fell in love, excuse me, with the parish and the people there because he watched firsthand how traditions and culture were carried on. Because even today, a lot of times, grandmother and grandfather, mom and dad, and children will live in the same home. So they practice their culture on a daily basis, their traditions, their music, their art, their food. And it's just learned.
Yeah.
And he noticed that it wasn't happening so much with the Polish culture because they're busy fitting in and they're busy becoming Americanized and all that. So that planted the seed for him. And then years later, we get something called Eagle Ford Oil in South Texas.
Yep.
So farmers and ranchers that own property and were struggling one day to pay taxes, the next day became multimillionaires. And it happened to quite a few people.
Yep.
The Yonta family was one of them. So now he had the vision, and now he's got the means. And Bishop actually set aside his first $4 million, and then he began to gather the best of the best in the world to plan this center.
Yeah.
So Steve Harding was the exhibit designer, very famous. He's retired now. He has worked with the Smithsonian, New York Art Museum, Houston's museums,
Best of
Boston.
the best.
Yes. And then Mark Mikowski, who is a phenomenal cathedral architect, which is why the center looks like it does.
Amazing.
He designed the building. We had the best historians, the best artists in the world, and there were a group of people that had been Bishop's friends, but also key players.
Right.
Alois Knotson, who is president and chairman of our board now, was president of ACOG for many years.
Right.
He's a phenomenal businessman.
Yes.
So he and Bishop were close. Sam Katara, Susan McKenzie, and a whole slew of people sat around Bishop's kitchen table, much like this, and they planned the center for 10 years.
Yeah.
So 10 years later,
10 years of planning.
16,000 square feet and $14.5 million later, we have the Polish Heritage Center.
That's incredible.
And it's a great story. And, you know, the diligence and the thought, and it's perfect.
Yes.
I can't say anything negative about that building.
That's very true. I've had the pleasure of seeing it myself. And good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us, Sharon and Elena. Yes, congratulations to Alice on this appointment that she is
Thank you.
fulfilling. much needed. And Leah Bellett says she needs to visit. Saw it on TV a few weeks ago, and it looks beautiful, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Leah, I can't
You do
wait
need
to
to
meet
visit.
you. Come out.
Yes, yes. That's incredible. And incredible. So, I guess going forward now, I have witnessed and been, and seen some of the different exhibits. At least I was there for one of them. So tell me about, are the exhibits still happening and those are changing out?
Well,
What's going on with that?
we are into our third exhibit, excuse me. We are showcasing Texas Polish veterans. And it is a phenomenal exhibit.
Imagine.
And I haven't had a chance to tell you about my staff yet. I have a wonderful staff of 5.
True.
Excuse me. Lauren Robinson is our librarian and archivist. And we had a time frame from Sestahova exhibit, which celebrated their 150th year. And it was another phenomenal exhibit, and the students loved it. It was hands-on.
Yeah.
They got to touch and play with everything and figure out what it was used for 170 years ago.
Cool.
And that was great. And so Lauren came up with the idea of let's showcase our Texas Polish veterans.
Yeah.
So she independently did all the research. She took all the pictures. She approached families, asking them to share memorabilia, and it's a wonderful exhibit. Starts with Civil War, and we actually have artifacts from the Civil War, and goes all the way through Desert Storm in Iraq. And we have uniforms on loan. We have a beautiful German Luger, which is very rare to this day, and it's still a working Luger. And just, I mean, it's phenomenal. You got to come out. And it's very emotional because when you really read these stories, you see what those families went through and in their loss. And we have one that touches my heart every time I talk about it. This particular soldier wrote home to his family, and 2 days later he was killed in action. So they actually got the notification of his death before they received his last letter. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Nope.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a great exhibit.
Incredible.
Come out. Of course, Sestahova, they celebrated their 150th last year, and that showcased so many things from 170 years ago. And what I loved and what I was amazed about is that people actually kept these things. Attics, trunks, in the barn, I mean, wherever. And we asked them, find whatever you think would be interesting. And it was phenomenal. Yeah. And of course, I wasn't there for the women's exhibit, but I hear it was great too.
It was really nice. Yeah, that was something quite special, and thankfully I was able to have my first visit at the Polish Heritage Center, and you just really are captivated by it. Is a very emotional experience, even outside the exhibits. The history it shows, of course, Polish is in my heritage, so I can definitely relate to that, and the family background. So it's amazing, and it's beautiful to hear that the schools are coming in. So do you focus on, have you had schools like come from far? Are they nearby? Tell us a little about those visits.
So we started our education outreach program in November of 23, and I started with Karnes City because they're close, and of course Falls City, because a lot of their population have direct connections to the immigrants. And that particular year, the state required teachers to teach immigration to Texas. And Polish immigration is actually mentioned in their standards. Yeah. So being an educator, I thought, okay, we've got this.
Locked in.
So I hired a seasoned teacher, Teacher of the Year several times, and she wrote a week-long curriculum for Polish immigration. And it deals with history, language arts, science, math, art, and music. And I give this to the districts and the teachers so they can teach this curriculum for a week. They can pick and choose what they teach. They can add to it any time because it's a basic curriculum, and it's been really successful. You can tell when they come out, they have learned as much as they can, and then they're just enthralled. And I'm going to use that word because you see it on their faces. Yeah. And so when they come out, students usually arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning. They stay till 1:30. We have tours of the center, the church, and the museum. We have partnered with the Historical Society in Panna Maria,
Right.
so they help with the tours of
Right.
the church and the museum. We have a scavenger hunt somewhere within the center. It could be in an exhibit, it could be in the gallery itself.
Fun.
And we have a Polish arts and crafts. We
Oh.
furnish refreshments, and we just have a lot of fun. And you know it's working when the littles come up to you, grab you around the waist and say, I'm not ready to go back to school yet. Or the older ones that are harder. You know, their
True.
audience is harder to reach. But
Yeah.
when they tell you as a junior or a senior, I'm coming back, and they actually do, you know it's working.
Oh, what a blessing.
So to this point, we've
Yeah.
had over 1,400 students come through.
Wow, that's
We
incredible.
extended it to 5 more districts this year.
Great.
And so, I mean, there are
Incredible.
weeks where we're exhausted,
Yeah.
but it's a good exhaustion. So
Oh.
anyway, we're grateful for that.
That is so neat. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic. Well, so y'all hold some very special events. Let's talk
We
about
do.
your events. You recently had one, was it last weekend? Or
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, it was March 1st.
Mhm.
So one of Bishop's dreams and one of his goals were that we had cultural events
Mhm.
and that we fill the center with as many people for as many reasons as we can. So, you know, we are a nonprofit, and we do have donors, but it is one of my responsibilities as a director to generate funds. So I came up with a gala, and the first year it was the red and white gala. This year we've changed it to the white and red because the
Oh.
Polish flag is white and red,
Oh, okay.
and that was brought
Yeah.
to our attention.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, it was our
I like that.
second, and I'm going to say without a doubt, you've got to go to our website and our Facebook page and look at the pictures. It was an awesome event. We, of course, the decorations were beautiful, and we had lots of help with so many things. The food was phenomenal, and I do have to shout out to Zach Yonta of Yonta Cattle Company because he and his family donate the ribeye steaks every year, and we had over 300 people.
That's
So
great.
that was phenomenal. We had a live auction, and that went really well. And of course, it's open bar all evening, appetizers, and then we had our entertainment this year, and I'm most proud of this, was a group from Poland. They are called Aldete. Dete means brass, so they're an all brass band.
Nice.
And there were 9 of them, ranging from age 20 to 77. And
That's
I'm going to
fantastic.
officially adopt them all because I fell in love. They're phenomenal.
Oh.
So they reached out to me after they performed in Chicago
Mhm.
for the Kosciuszko Foundation Gala. And I was intrigued, and so I started doing some research, and they're one of the top bands in Poland. They have traveled all over Europe, Chicago, Florida. And so the trade-off was, if you come and entertain our guest, I will make it a Texas adventure for you. So they arrived on a Wednesday and they left on a Monday. And during that time, we had ranch experience. Randy and Debbie Pavelic opened their ranch land and let them
Cool.
ride ATVs and see
Oh my
cattle and longhorns. And they actually filmed a video
Mhm.
that they're going to put to their latest song that they wrote
Neat.
out there. And
Yeah.
so, anyway, we had a family reunion of the Bandus because 2 of them are Bandus.
Okay.
And we had a luncheon, invited the community. So we just really had a great time with them, and of course they had an awesome time. And George Kovalik in Panna Maria provided his home, and he housed
that's
all 9 of
nice.
them for 5 nights.
Oh my gosh.
And then ladies in the community prepared breakfast for them every morning and lunches, and we took care of dinners,
Yeah.
and it truly was a community affair,
Yeah.
and it was a
That is
phenomenal week.
beautiful.
Yeah. And when you're really,
Amazing.
really tired at the end of it, you know you've done a great job.
Of course.
And we were exhausted.
I'm sure.
So anyway, the
Wow.
gala was a huge success because of them, and just because we sold all of our tables
Right.
this year. We had VIP tables, 5,000 and 2,500,
Great.
and then individual tickets for $250, and we did very well.
Oh my
So I'm
goodness.
pleased.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Good. Now you said there was also a very important event that you hold every year in late December.
Yes.
Right?
Well, actually, only this year.
Oh.
Because this
right.
year in the Catholic religion, it is the Jubilee year, which means you can receive plenary resolution to your sins. And so Panna Maria is a pilgrimage site, which means churches can travel there. Their own priests can have Mass in Panna Maria. They can hear confession. And then, of course, we offer the tours and lunch. And so we've had two. St. Matthew's was our first with 59 members coming, and it was a great event. So to open the Jubilee year, the 29th was the opening day.
Okay.
And we had a celebration. We had Mass under the tree as a tradition to the 170th Mass, you know, years ago when the Polish immigrants first came. And then we had a choir from Poland come and sing all through Mass and then entertain us afterwards. Singing, dancing. They had those long horns. They had bagpipes, which I just learned originated with Polish.
Really?
Not Scottish.
Oh my.
Scottish borrowed the idea. So I learned that.
Very
But
cool.
it was a great event. And it's on Facebook also.
Great.
And our website.
Oh, cool. Well, speaking of, Sharon asked that question, is there an event calendar online? But since you mentioned them, we should tell people how to find the Polish Heritage Center on Facebook, which is tagged in the description of this video, so you can find them that way. But also, what is the website for the Heritage Center?
It's Polish Heritage Center, tx.org. And, you know, it showcases up-and-coming events. It showcases what has happened in the past.
Great.
We try to incorporate lots of pictures so everyone gets the idea. We're on Facebook. We are also in the Wilson County News as much as possible, county-wide.
Great.
And, of course, Facebook.
Of course.
And, you know, I forgot to tell you about a couple of things that are happening right now as we speak.
What we need to know.
Every year we have a Polish art contest, and it is open to students kinder through 12. And last year we had 100 entries, and we gave away 51 prizes.
Nice.
This year we've opened it up to 2 more districts, so
Wow.
I have no idea how many we'll get, but it started February 20th. It ends March 21st.
Okay.
All the entries are due then, and then we will showcase them around the center for 2 weeks. And as visitors come in, we have a People's Choice Award, so they can they can vote for every level, grade level, who their favorites are, and then I get artists to come in and do the final.
Kind of
So
like
you
a
can-
mini exhibit within it.
Oh, yes, and
my
so,
gosh.
you know, we
So
might
much
have
going on.
art out in the parking lot this year.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Ooh.
we're very excited about it.
Wow.
And the public loved it.
Yeah.
After we did it last year, because, you know, not everyone's an athlete, and not everyone is a scientist or a mathematician.
Right.
There's those in our school districts that have
Amazing
phenomenal
talent.
art, art talent, and we want to showcase that.
That's great.
And our entries were gorgeous last year. So that's going on right now.
Which school districts are part of?
Karn City, well, all in the county.
Okay.
So Karn City, Fall City, Kennedy, and Runge. And then next year, depending upon the entries, because I do have to be careful not to have
Sure.
thousands, you know.
want to have
I'm going to
organization.
try to open it up to a little bit more, but
Yeah.
so that's happening now.
Neat.
And then we have our scholarship.
Important.
Something that was extremely important to Bishop was to offer a way for students to continue their education. So last year we awarded our first scholarship to Lauren Juke. It's a $10,000 scholarship.
Wow.
And it's not just for one student, it's whoever qualifies. She set the bar pretty high, but you have to have direct relations to the first immigrants.
Okay.
So that's one of the prerequisites. You have to be active in your church, community service, and so you can find information on our website about that. And I mean, we could have several be awarded. So I urge anyone that is in high school and a senior,
Impressive.
or even in college right now, to apply and see if you
Yeah.
could qualify.
That's
It's a great
great.
scholarship.
Fantastic.
And then we also have Polish Youth Day coming up.
Ooh.
Polonio Youth Day, and that's April 12th.
Okay.
And we have invited the Polish schools in Houston and in Austin, UT's Polish Club, Texas A&M's Polish Club, and then our two districts, Fall City and Poth and Kern City, to
Great.
come. And so they have to RSVP because we feed them lunch.
Wow.
We have a tour, and it doesn't cost them anything unless they want to buy a snow cone from a vendor.
Yeah.
Then
Neat.
yeah. So that's coming up too. So we're really
Wow.
busy right now,
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
That is exciting. Wow. Well, congratulations, and what great work you're doing.
Thank you.
It's so nice to get an update from this perspective of all that's going on over there, and just hope that more people can take advantage of the opportunity of something so close by in our backyard right there, and just explore it.
Yes.
And learn
And
more.
so we are open Tuesday through Saturday. We open at 10 o'clock and we close at 4. Our admission for adults is $10. If you're a veteran, we waive that admission to honor their service. And then children are $5. And you do
Great.
not have to schedule a tour.
Great.
But if you would like to, we're always open to that. The technology in the center allows you to have an independent exploration.
Right.
You wear an audio wand, and whatever interests you, you point the wand to that
okay.
exhibit, and it tells you the story. And once again, he wanted the best of the best.
of the best is
It
what.
tells the story in English, Polish, and Spanish, and then we have a children's version also. So,
That
and
is
you
precious.
know, the technology's phenomenal. You'll be blown away.
It is.
Yeah. You've got to come out and see the gorgeous artwork. And then I do need to give a shout out to my staff. I started, but I didn't finish.
I was thinking, did we finish?
Lauren Robinson is our librarian and archivist.
Okay.
And then Myrna Estrella is our manager of business operations. And she is the one that keeps me on track with the
I
budget.
bet.
And then I have John Batachik, who is our visitor's associate. He is Polish, and he has that role because he's related to everyone. And I love that.
Cool.
And then Christina Griffin is my new associate. She, assistant. So I'll get it right in a minute, y'all. She
Makes
is my
sense.
new assistant, and she came from an education background of 20 years.
Wow.
So she's used to wearing a lot of hats, and she reads my mind and thinks of it before I even think
That's
of it. So
fantastic.
it's phenomenal. And then I have Isaac Benitez. He is our media specialist,
Great.
and he's responsible for photographs, all the
Right.
posting, the articles in the newspaper, which I used to do, and it just got to be a lot
Yeah.
because the more we do,
Yes.
the more you want to
Exactly.
post and
It's so nice
advertise.
to hear that you have this robust team
I
helping
do,
you.
I do, and they'll do anything, and they
Yeah.
love the center. And Lauren had a very special relationship with Bishop. She's from Nixon Smiley, and she has 3 degrees.
Wow.
And he said, "You're a rare find," and she is,
Oh.
because you don't find archivists very often.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. So
That
I'm going
is
to keep her
special.
for a while. I'm going to keep all of them
Good.
for a while.
That's great.
So I do want to talk about our marketing just
Okay.
a little bit, because that's one of my responsibilities. And when I started at the center, they had two avenues. Now we have 10. And we have a beautiful billboard in Floresville. I
Okay.
don't know if you've seen it going south. It's right here.
Okay.
We recently were showcased in the travel show Day Tripper.
Right.
And I don't know if you caught it,
I
but
did
it was a
see
great,
the
you know,
mention.
Karnes County has so much to give that he didn't just showcase Panna Maria.
Yeah.
He was all around,
Yeah.
Kennedy, Karnes City. But I loved what he did with the Polish Heritage Center because he gave a true picture of the importance, and it is a national treasure.
That's great.
We've also been featured in Texas Monthly, and then we have a brochure that's in all the hotels in San Antonio and in Corpus, and so that helps. And then we
Wonderful.
also in Hill Country Catholic Magazine, which reaches 36,000 families.
Nice.
So we are getting there, and I love it when guests come and they say, "We saw you on TV, or we
Right.
saw the center
That's
in
great.
the brochure."
Yes.
You know it's working.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Sharon has an interesting question. Does everyone at the center speak Polish?
Only John Batachik,
Okay.
and it's minimal. I'm going to tell you, and I'll be very honest, and the Polish people will admit it too. Polish is a very hard language, and John Batachik actually took almost a year of Polish through the Polish school in Houston on Saturdays, and it was hard. And so, no, No one but John speaks it. It's minimal. I know a few words. You know, of course it would be ideal, but honestly, most of the people that visit the center, even those from Poland, are fluent in English.
Yeah.
There's very few that are not. So it helps.
Right.
And then Father Wiesław, who is the priest at Panna Church, he's from Poland, and of course he's fluent.
Right.
And so if we ever need him,
he's on hand.
he's right there.
Yeah. That's good. Well, that was an interesting question. Thanks for asking that, Sharon. Well, you covered a lot. Is there anything else, as we're kind of nearing the last minutes of this conversation, that you would still like to mention?
I forgot to mention, we have a beautiful ballroom at the Polish Heritage Center, and last year we dedicated it to Bishop.
Wow.
So now it is the Bishop John W. Yonta room, and that ballroom is for rent.
Okay.
So we have hosted many events this past year, anything from birthday parties to a quinceanera. We had anniversaries, like 25th anniversary, 40th, 50. We have had, of course, funeral luncheons because the church is right there and the cemetery is right there.
Nice.
Just
family reunions would be...
especially. Thank you for bringing that up. I almost forgot it.
Yeah, Nanette mentioned that their family reunion was held there, so...
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, family reunions, and I love that because not only is it a get-together, but it helps the younger generations see their Polish heritage and learn. We just had a Panna reunion, and they actually had a booklet that we copied for them and put in binders of all their lineage, and they loved it. And we will do things like that for the families because it's important for us to help them showcase and let their littles understand how important their heritage is.
Yes.
So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. Wow, thank you. That was a wealth of information.
Well, I could talk forever.
There's so much to be shared, so I don't want you to miss
is.
anything. If there's anything else that...
Well, let's see. Oh, I do have a new docent program.
Oh.
So as our educational outreach program took hold and we started receiving, I mean, there are days when we will host up to 90 students at a time.
Wow.
So that means I need tour guides. We divide into groups. I need docents to help with that. And that was one of the things that Bishop wanted and never got going.
Okay.
And so, you know, like I said, I know everybody.
Right.
And I started reaching out and asking some retired teachers and then just some friends that they do Bible school with their church and they love being with children. So now I have 6 docents.
Okay.
And I put out a schedule every month of the activities that are happening. I do that for the Historical Society too.
Nice.
And then they reach out and let me know when they can help. And so there's someone helping 2 to 3 every event that we have.
That's great.
Which is phenomenal, yeah. And of course it's volunteer, so that says a lot about them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
I don't think I left anything else out.
Now, can you find information about the docent program on your website?
I think it's there. I'm not sure. But if not, they can always call
reach
the
out.
center, yes, and talk to me about it.
That's
and,
great.
You know, and I do supply information about the center because some of our docents strictly want to be with students and, you know, do the arts and crafts. But others are moving into being a tour guide later on.
Okay.
And so I have information, they can read it, they can listen, walk with us as I even give tours because sometimes it's necessary for me. And I step out of my office every time we have a visitor because I want them to feel very welcome and know that we're here for them.
Wonderful.
And so anyway, yes, if you're interested in being a tour guide, please reach out.
Excellent. And as a reminder, so your hours for any time you can stop in to have a tour.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be appointments, right?
No. Tuesday through Saturday, we're open from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. And we try not to do family tours or family get-togethers on Sunday, but we have had a few because that's the only time everyone can get together. They travel on Saturday, they're here on Sunday.
Wow.
So reach out and we will work with you if there's something you want to schedule. And of course we do have evenings. We had an 80th birthday party a few evenings ago, And that was George Kovalik. Happy birthday again, George.
Happy birthday.
And, we had close to 100 people there, and it was a great event. And, we try to work with the clientele
like
and
it.
accommodate, because I know it's hard to get family together.
Yeah, it can be.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. This has been very enlightening. Thank you for sharing all of that about the Polish Heritage Center, which is located in Panna Maria, just down the road from Karn City, by way of, through Wilson County. And you can, just as a reminder, they are tagged in the description of this video. The website is also shared in the comments, but it's polishheritagecentertx.org. And you can also watch the pages of the Wilson County News as we keep you posted about events and things that they have going on. Alice, thank you so much for being here today. It's been wonderful meeting you and hearing all the updates and the good work that you're doing to keep this going.
Well, thank you
in
so much.
Bishop
And thank
Yana's
you for
name.
the invitation.
Yeah, you're
and
welcome.
Thank you, listeners and
Yes.
viewers, because it truly is a national treasure, and you need to come see it for yourself.
You need to go see it. Make the time.
And nice meeting you, Kristen.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank again our sponsor, Professionals in Dentistry, the top-rated dentist in China Grove, and you can smile brighter with Professionals in Dentistry. Thank you so much for your WCN Live sponsorship, and we thank you all for joining us and hope that you'll join us again when we'll be here next Wednesday at 10 a.m. for our next guest. So we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.